Want to go deeper with Lobbing Scorchers? You know, scratch under the surface, get down even dirtier than we already get. Become a YouTube member. Sometimes things just get a little too spicy, a little too weird, and a little too loose for the general public. And you know, the people to see that are YouTube members. We're talking about exclusive bonus videos, the podcast after show, exclusive written content, and little bits and pieces of information before the unwashed masses know about it. As a member, you not only get access to all of this amazing content, you get a badge next to your name and a slew of amazing emotes to use, not only in our live stream chat, but also in our comments section. And yes, we do have an emote for Jesus Ferreira, Go Snack, and Paul Rothrock. This is the best way to help keep us independent and keep us building out this crazy YouTube brand that we call Lobbing Scorchers. Hit the join button down below or hit the link in the top of our description if you're on mobile to join the ranks and become a Lobbing Scorchers YouTube member.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome in to another episode of Lobbing Scorchers Under the Lights. Got a big show for you all planned here tonight. This episode is going to have a dual function. It's going to be Under the Lights, but also our post-game reaction / call-in show. For whenever we can, we like to do our post-game reaction call-in show right after the game, but it doesn't always line up like that with the Sounders playing midweek against the Colorado Rapids at Lumen Field. I figured I would just merge this, do Under the Lights like normal, but then also do some game reaction and take some calls. Let you, the people, hop on here and lay down some takes with me. And God knows, there's a lot to lay down takes about right now with the Seattle Sounders. I'm going to drop the call-in link in chat here in a second. But before we do that, I'll probably just riff a little on the game for you guys and give you just how I'm feeling, where I'm at, temperature check after what we witnessed at Lumen Field last night. We did drop a pod earlier today that is out on all the audio platforms. The video is not up yet. That should be up soon, by tomorrow at the latest, maybe later tonight. But if you haven't yet, you can dive in and get our initial reactions on the match and just general takes on the Sounders and our agenda check, wherever you get your audio shows tonight. And that video should be up soon. But I'm going to talk about the game a little bit more. And then I was thinking, while we wait for people to queue in, I might go through the archive collection of kits that dropped a couple days ago, and that a lot of the teams, I think most of the teams that dropped them were wearing them last night. Seattle was wearing theirs, and that was one positive from a game that had a negative ending, was that the archive kits, I think they look pretty incredible. I was saying on the pod that we released today, I think those are my favorite kits that the Sounders have dropped in a while. But really the whole there was like 10 teams or something that put them out. They were pretty much all fire. So maybe look through those after, do some discourse on the game, and then take some calls. And that's going to be the plan for tonight. So thank you guys as always for tuning in. And as some of you are already doing, if you have takes, questions, thoughts, observations, agendas, and grievances, go ahead and drop them in chat. Let you guys steer the ship from there as well, in addition to when I drop that call link in there, and hopefully have some good discourse with you, the people, give you a chance to say where you're at in terms of the Seattle Sounders right now, because they are on a historic run, which I'm going to talk about that in a second. Before we get into all that, please do like the video. If you're watching this and you're somehow not subbed to the channel already, please sub to the channel. We're well past the 2K mark on YouTube, but the road to 3K is what it's about right now. And every single sub counts. So please do that. LobbingScorchers.com/sauce for the Lobbing Scorchers hot sauce. And go ahead and also drop us a follow on Instagram and on TikTok as we continue to try and grow our presence on those platforms as well. The Instagram game is hot. The TikTok game is actually heating up. So if you have not done so yet, please support us over there. All right. Should we talk about some Seattle Sounders? Do you guys want to talk about the Seattle Sounders? Let's do it. Let's talk about the Seattle Sounders because these last two games, like I said, have been historic. Whether it's in a good way or a bad way, I guess that depends on your perspective. I think most of us would agree that the history they're making right now, not necessarily the history that you want to be making, but I really have never seen anything quite like what we've seen in these last two games, just in terms of the contrast between how they looked to start the game and really through the first half, and then what's happened in the second half. It's really that alone is I don't know if I've ever seen that stark a contrast. It was like a carbon copy where you play incredible in the first half, you go up 3-0 in both games, and then you give up 2 penalty kicks to make it 3-2. In the case of the Sporting KC game, you're able to see out the win. But as we said on the postgame show after that game, if you give up 2 penalty kicks per game or get 1 red card per game, which I think are the averages right now over these last 3 games, it's not what I would call sustainable. It's not a sustainable way to take results and take points, to give up red cards and penalties at this clip. I wasn't going to look at the numbers. I felt like I already had a pretty good handle on the historic implications, but I was curious. But shout out to Jeremiah Oshan. I'm gonna show you guys exactly the historical context that we're talking about, because Jo did crunch the numbers in his post-game pontifications, which you can read on Sounder at Heart. I encourage you guys to read the whole article, but I'm just going to pull these numbers for you guys because this is remarkable stuff. That game too, he's speaking of the Sporting KC game, featured the Sounders giving up 2 penalties, which means the Sounders have already tied the MLS record for most penalties in a 3-game span. Going back to before the Club World Cup break, the Sounders have now allowed 6 penalty goals in 6 league games, a league record. Only one other team, Toronto FC in 2019, had surrendered 6 penalties in 6 games, but one of those failed to convert. So there you have it. There you have it, folks. Rarefied air. Rarefied historical air in which the Seattle Sounders now find themselves after a game where they gave up 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes, which if you really just size up these last 6 games where you've had 5 red cards and given up 6 penalties, like that, those numbers are historic enough. But then you throw in the fact that 2 of the both red cards in Vancouver, I think, came in like a 2 to 3 minute span. Did they not? Nuhu and J Bell got sent off, one right after the other. And then in this game, you have 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes. So it's really about the pace at which these things are escalating that I find one of the most remarkable facets of it. Usually it gets spread out a little bit. But again, 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes, usually not a recipe for success, even if you do have a 3-goal lead. It's funny. I was sitting there in the press box at Lumen Field last night. To be at Lumen Field last night, it was an experience. It was a roller coaster. It started off incredible. They come out in the Orca kits. They're on point, generating chances. Obed Vargas scores a goal. Zach Steffen commits a howler. Albert Rusnak on the board. Overall, really good first half, exactly how you want to exactly how you draw it up for a home match. Then they come out in the second half. They're still firing. They get another Albert Rusnak goal. 3-0. And then pretty much directly after, like from the Rusnak goal on, it deteriorated. And I was sitting there after they gave up the second penalty for the foul on Andy T. And I was like, man, like in the lead up to this game, I was literally doing a bit like, can the Seattle Sounders make it through one MLS match without a fullback getting ejected, which they did manage to do. So, baby steps. They did keep all 11 guys on the field. But like when I saw the second penalty, I was like, well, first of all, I was like, oh my God, did Andy T just get sent off? Like when I saw it live, I thought, oh man, there might be some dog show stuff going on here. The goalkeeper might be about to get sent off here, which would have been unreal scenes. Incredible content. He didn't get sent off. But I was thinking, I was like, all right, I've been doing the bit about if they can make it through without someone getting ejected. They couldn't do that, or they could do that. But one of the only things that I could think of that's in the ballpark of as self-destructive as getting someone sent off in that situation would be conceding 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes. If I were to name all the scenarios that could lead to them blowing a 3-goal lead against the Colorado Rapids at home, I would say getting someone sent off again, that could lead to that. And also if they give up 2 penalties in 3 minutes, that could do it. And it did do it in this case. They got away with it in the Sporting KC game. But the reality is when you throw teams lifelines like that, even a team like the Rapids who, 1.2 points per game or whatever, they'll punish you for it. Darren Yappy, that goal that he scored, he cooked there. He did. But that shouldn't have been, when you're up 3 goals at home, theoretically conceding 1 off a great play that the other guy makes shouldn't sacrifice you the result if you haven't given up 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes. So that was that's the unfortunate lens through which to look at the sequence of events that's transpired in these last 2 games. On one level, I will tell you guys, I'm genuinely excited about some of the stuff I've seen from the offense in the last 2 games. I don't want the second half meltdowns to necessarily undermine how I feel about what I saw in those first halves. 6 goals across your last 2 games. That's great output. And the chance generation in these first halves has been really good. Rusnak's in really good form right now. He's up to 16 goal contributions. Jesus Ferreira is in good form right now. He has 9 goal contributions and 3 goals in his last 6 league games. And it feels like that band of 3, Rothrock, Rusnak, and Ferreira, is kind of solidifying itself. It's looking dangerous. It's producing goals. So that's good. But it makes a result like last night's probably more frustrating because you kind of undid a lot of that good work by giving up 2 penalties in 3 minutes. I'm going to keep saying it because that was wild. We had a lengthy discussion on the pod we put out today about, whether we feel like this team has discipline issues right now. I'm sure when we take some calls, we'll get into that. But, if you're looking for a coping mechanism, which is what I like to do coming off a dispiriting result. Theoretically, if they stop giving up penalties and getting ejected at unprecedented historic rates, and they play roughly to the level that we've seen in the first half of these last two games, that'd be a really good team. That'd be a really good team. You just have to stop giving up penalty kicks and getting red cards at an unprecedented historic rate. That's step one. And that would be, my challenge to the squad before this last game was, make it through a game without the fullback getting ejected. They did that. Step two, make it through this. How about make it through a game without giving up a penalty kick or getting a red card? Let's set the bar there. Saturday against San Jose, let's set the bar there. And then let the chips fall where they may. Let's accomplish that. Finish the game with 11 men. Don't give up between 1 and 3 goals from the penalty spot. Run your stuff on offense like you've been doing. Let the chips fall where they may. I'll hit a couple things from chat here, then maybe look at these charity kits. But I'm going to drop this call link in. Let's get the queue flowing. If anyone wants to hop on and lay down some takes, I know you guys want to hop on and lay down some takes after that game, and really these last two games. It's been a wild last two games. It's been good for the content, and it is kind of wild. Like, you look at these last 4 games, they're 2-0-2. They haven't the 5 games since the penalty kick red card boys have started showing up. They've lost one. They lost the one in Vancouver. But they got 2 wins, 2 draws in the other 4 matches. So, I mean, when you think about the fact that they're accruing red cards and PKs at a historic pace, 2-0-2 is not a bad record when you take that into account. Is that cope? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I always laugh when people are like, that's cope. Like, yeah, that's what we do here. That's what we do. 2-0-2. Despite giving up PKs and getting red cards like it's no one's business. All right, let's see what's going on, chat. I'm going to scroll up here and just go through these, see what you guys are talking about. Well, actually, we got our first caller in the queue, so let's just get right into it. A Lobbing Scorchers favorite. His name is Giani. We're going to bring him to the stage right now. Giani, what's up, man? A 3-3 draw that included a blown 3-0 lead and 2 more PKs. What is your take on what's going on with just this penalty kick red card hot streak that the boys are on right now?
I mean, a lot of it comes down to kind of tired legs and just kind of mental fatigue as well. That Christian penalty, if he was fresh, he probably gets to that ball fast enough. He reacts a little bit quicker. Andy T, I mean, he hasn't really started that many games. I mean, this is his second start in God knows how long. He hasn't been playing at game speed. So, his decision-making was kind of a little bit off there. He nearly got to that ball, but also he didn't need to. That ball was going to
He didn't need to come off his line.
Near post.
That is
there's not going to be a shot there. So, that's correctable. He's young. Not a lot of game experience. I mean, he's played, obviously, but just not enough recently. So, I mean, it's a forgivable mistake. The problem is, we're making too many of these mistakes, and we're just, like you said, we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, at an unprecedented rate. Yeah,
historic rate.
If you it's not, not great history,
You
but
don't
it is
want this
history.
record, but we
If
got
you
it.
and Schmetzer's kind of, he's been getting grilled about this obviously a little bit, and his sort of he's going to protect the players. He's never going to be like, this team is an undisciplined pack of bad news bears. I don't know what's going on out there. He's not going to say that. But his kind of thing was like, all right, if you, and I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, if you look at all of the red cards in isolation, it's not like one pattern or like one player. You've got situations where with KKR, RBW, and Andy T, these are young guys who don't have a lot of MLS experience. With Nuhu, you've got a full-on crash out that I'm dealing with, but that's not necessarily related to a trend regarding the other red cards. And then the J Bell one is just pretty unlucky, to be honest. So it's not like there's one thing you can point to and be like, this team is a lack of it's discipline that's led to this in all these cases. 3 of them you could I guess the Andy T one's not a red card, but it was one of the penalties that they've given up. So it's an example of just like you can't have it both ways, as far as being like, we want to be a club that commits to youth development and giving our young guys a chance and having them impact the first team, and then not play
the young kids.
Or like, you got to be willing to live with mistakes that include red cards and PKs in certain situations. It's just like, feels like it's all piled up at the same time. In the red cards and the PKs, it's like 2 separate methods of shooting yourself in the foot that 100%. They have just done one right after the other. But I guess, so on the topic of fatigue, I'm curious what you think of how Schmetz handled the starting 11 and the substitutions, because Nico and I both predicted a heavily rotated lineup, and that was not the case at all. I should have known better. Schmetzer doesn't really rotate like us fans would if we were in control.
Well, we're doing like a FIFA career mode or something.
Yeah, but my thing is like, all right, if you're going to run back the same starting 11, then it's got to work. They got to be on point. They got to be getting on top of the Colorado Rapids, and they got to get a couple goals. And if they're looking gassed out there and they can't score, or Colorado's on top of them or whatever it is, then it's like, why are you not rotating? The team looked incredible in the first half. So I think the lineup he deployed worked from that perspective. But what Noah and I were talking about was like, but then just get to the subs earlier then. Just get to the subs early.
That's really the problem. So if you look at when we're like, our team starts failing out, that is all second half. Like, our players are gassed and they're putting everything that they have into it. It's no surprise that we are burning out in the second half. Our guys are slow to the ball. We are making bad decisions. We are we're giving away fouls when we shouldn't be. We are late to second balls. We lose control of the game because we're not able to play up to game speed. I was kind of curious to see like what the actual minutes totals were on some of our players, and no shock, Christian and Obed are our minutes leaders on this team. 1,800 in regular season for 2025 for Christian, and 1,670 for Obed. These dudes need a fucking break. Like, this is unsustainable. Like, I'm fucking Tom Thibodeau out here, like, just taking hatchets to their legs at this point.
It is the Tom Tibbs. No, there's got to be some point where Christian and Obed both get a breather, and I was thinking that this game would be the ideal platform for that.
I did not want to see Christian in this game. Like,
I didn't either.
I wanted him to get a fucking break. He was gassed in SKC.
Yeah,
like he was like dragging ass trying to like get around the field in SKC, flies back here. And I get that Schmetzer said, oh, well, we actually had 4 days to the Wednesday game. It doesn't fucking matter. You cannot get onto a plane, get your actual physical recovery back, and get up for this game and play up to 100% fitness when you're coming off of the minutes totals that he's racking. It's just not possible. And honestly, it's putting him in a worse situation to get hurt, in a position where we have no depth. We have no one to come in if Christian gets hurt and play those minutes. Like, we can rotate in Danny and spell Christian. We could potentially rotate Alex there and spell Christian. I don't think that those are long-term solutions, because what are we doing then? If we take Alex out of the right back spot, then we only have KKR back there. So while we have depth, it's not really the kind of depth that you want because you're sliding players around to cover for other people, but that means that you actually are losing your depth at that other position.
Yeah, like the JP injury really
it screwed us.
It complicates things a lot because one of the other things we were talking about on our pod today was like we projected the Danny Leyva Obed or double pivot. That concept, I think, the concern, I guess, that I have with that is you've got two hyper technical finesse players there, and you don't have like the dog, the physical presence, the enforcer, that role that Christian plays. JP, you know, for however much people might feel like he lost a step, his player profile matches that skill set, and you could that's like a logical player to insert into the double pivot and theoretically play that role, whereas a Danny Obed double pivot, you're going to have to like work around not having that type of profile in there. So maybe that's the reason why he decided to start Christian in this game. And I imagine that he did plan on taking Christian off earlier than he did, but then they gave up 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes, famously, and that kind of blew that plan out the window. So that is that makes sense, I guess, but it's just it leads to a situation where like you're saying, it's just untenable. Like you can't run that double pivot every single minute of every single game.
No,
you have to find a way to keep it fresh and give him a break and rotate.
Well, and I think it's still like it's relevant to say Christian gave away one of those penalties. If he was fresh, or if there was a fresh player in his position, there's the potential that penalty never happens.
He never gives away penalties.
No,
I don't think I've seen him do that one time his entire career.
That's the most it was one of the most shocking things that happened inside the game, outside of going up 3 goals and giving 3 of them away in the second half,
which the Sounders have never done.
No, that was
they have never been up in their MLS history. Have they ever been up 3 goals and not won the game?
Yeah,
never.
And I guess like on player rotation. So if we think that Danny is he slots in better for Obed, why didn't we rotate Obed? He is our second leading minutes player on this team. He's also younger. He also has a history of injury. Like he broke his back. Like get this guy a break. Like
I was thinking that too, but then like, you know, he goes and scores a goal. So I'm like, all right, well, it did work. Like the first half, the lineup he put out there worked. It did.
Yeah.
I think where I question it is
more subs.
Right. Like earlier. what I was saying today is like, dude, right as Rusnak scores that. All right. Everyone out. We don't need to like go crazy chasing the fourth. Just control the game. Don't let it get too out of hand, and try and score, but don't be crazy. Let's just see this out and get this win and get some guys a rest. And maybe, I don't know, we'll never know. Maybe that's what he was planning on doing, but the penalty kicks came so close to when Rusnak scored that like, if that was the plan, I think he probably felt like he couldn't do it at that point. And then it just, what did you make of how I felt like the whole, outside of the game state and giving up the goals and being under pressure, you could tell that guys were really frustrated. They were complaining at the ref after every call in a lot of cases, you know, arguably correctly on the merits, but that's stuff you do when you're the whole situation is like in your head and you start kind of crashing out a little bit. So that was honestly, just kind of like an added layer.
We're playing like Inter Miami. We're trying to outscore every team. We're getting caught like complaining to the ref. We're like, honestly, the yellow card that Christian took probably saved another goal. As dumb as it looked, they were trying to start a quick counter off of or they're trying to take that free kick quickly. And 4 of our players were complaining to the ref. The guy is lining that ball up, and the ref he didn't ask for space, and so the ref isn't gonna like hold the play until everyone gets back into position. So Christian kicks that ball away, and he takes a yellow card there. And I saw a bunch of people getting on him. that was a smart play, and he saved our ass from probably giving up another goal. Like, our mentals are so bad right now. Like, I don't know what's going on, but these dudes need to get out of their own fucking way.
They got to lock in. Everyone's just got to lock in. You had Jackson Reagan picking up a yellow for dissent, which was controversial because after the game, were you at the game?
That was no, I had tickets. I just like, it's a fucking Wednesday night
Wednesday
game
against the Rapids
at 7:25, and I have to wake up at 5:30. That's just not happening. So I watched it at home. Honestly, that ref, like, I don't think the ref is really to blame for what happened, but he was giving out a bunch of yellows when I think he probably could have kept the cards in his pocket. Like, he was losing control of the game, and he was just like, I think that one didn't really make any sense, and it sucks because now Jackson's out for the next game.
Exactly. So Schmetzer was he was livid that Jackson picked up that yellow because he's suspended, and he walked onto the field after the game, and the first thing he did, I think, was go up to Jackson, and I think he was basically like, "What the fuck? Like, what did you say?" And Jackson was like, "I didn't say shit." Like, he was kicking the ball back. He was taking the ball back, and he was kicking it to where he thought they were going to set up the free kick, and the referee thought that he was kicking it away in frustration, directed at the ref, and gave him a yellow for dissent, when Jackson claims that that's not what he was doing. He was literally just kicking the ball back, and now he's suspended.
When the ref should have never stopped the game in the fucking first place. It wasn't a head injury. It was very obvious that he wasn't hurt. I watched him on the field get up, push himself up, look around, and then go back down onto the ground.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's where the frustration. Yeah, that's where the frustration came from. And I'm sure he was like a little frustrated when he kicked it or whatever. But you don't need to really yellow him there.
Yeah,
but
like
either way, the
he
squad got
threw his
like
arm in the air.
the squad got like 7 yellow cards. So it's just like, oh man. But I don't know, like for as unfortunate as the second half of these last 2 games have been, the first halves have been phenomenal. What do you make of what you've seen from the team on offense to start these games and get these leads to blow?
It's awesome. Like, can we play like a 45-minute game instead?
Yeah, exactly. This would be the greatest team in MLS history if the game was 45 minutes.
If 3 goals a game, sign me up. But yeah, like, I think when the team is fresh or like fresher, we're looking great. Some of the interchange that we have is really nice. Seeing a little bit more like vertical passing, which is putting players through. Like, Jesus got put through on goal. It was a good shot. It's a little bit too close to the keeper, but it's also a good save from Stefan there. Our press was really effective in the first half. The press from Jesus Ferreira like led to Zach Steffen doing the Stefan Fry in Vancouver thing. It's a mistake.
Right. Exactly.
Goalkeeper should probably just pump that shit like way downfield.
It was a horrible play by Stefan, but you make your own luck by pressing them.
Yeah.
That's
exactly. Like, you have to give them the opportunity to make a mistake, and if they're going to make that mistake, let's capitalize on it. I mean, an open net is, you still have to put on frame. So haters hate. Albert scored that goal. But I think we actually probably could have scored 2 more if Moose had like figured out that the goal was like 5 feet to the left.
There was the Moose one, and then Rusnak had one that was such a good.
Moose had 2.
Oh, okay, yeah, he did. Moose had 2, and then the chance that Rusnak had from in the box there was, I mean, it's such a good look. Like, he missed it, but I feel like the chance generation outside of the goal production, the chance generation is fantastic right now in the first half.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I think what I would have liked to have seen is at halftime when we pulled Yamar, pull Moose, like, give Jordan those minutes. Like, I would have liked to have seen him get a few more minutes. Like, out of anyone, he's got the legs. He's been coming back from injury, and while he might have played, I'm not sure if Schmetzer said he hit his metrics in the SKC game or not. I think it would have been good to give Jordan a bit more run from the start rather than ask him to come into a game. I forget, it was like maybe in the 65th or 70th minute. So he got a little bit more play than the rest of the guys. I think I just would have liked him to start the game, like get him a little bit of time to like work himself into the game from the start of the half.
Yeah. And he did do the swap with them at halftime in the Kansas City game. So there was precedent for it.
Yeah.
But hopefully I'm excited to see what this offense can look like when Jordan's like fit and like the starter again. I think we kind of got a little taste of what that could look like in the first half at Sporting KC. And I love what I'm saying. I think Rothrock was among the gassed for this last game, but theoretically when he's fresh, he's looking really good right now. And Jesus Ferreira is also coming into his own. So I think there's a fair amount to be optimistic about right now. It just doesn't feel like it because they keep blowing these leads and are picking up penalty concessions and red cards at an unprecedented historic rate, famously.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious what they're going to do on Saturday now. I mean, it's supposed to be a cooler day, like only 73 as opposed to like the 90 degrees it was yesterday. So it should be a little bit easier on the players. But I think it'd be if we're not going to rotate for this game, we need to rotate in this game. And I just don't know.
He's not going to. It's going to be the double pivot. He's not going to do it.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, why am I even saying we should do this? Like, I know that Schmetzer is just not going to.
He just doesn't.
He just doesn't. I'm not sure if he doesn't believe in it or what, or if he's just
okay. Here's my theory. Guys. Yeah, that's what I think it is. I think he has guys that he trusts unconditionally who have earned it. Like Christian is in that group. Obed is in that group. Jordan, I think, is definitely in that group. And like for a coach, there's a sense of security in being like, all right, this guy is experienced. He's proven. He has shown to be an elite contributor in MLS week in, week out. The lowest amount of anxiety that I have as a coach is the Christian Obed double pivot being out there. If I put Danny Leyva out there, I don't know what's going to happen, but Christian and Obed I can count on. And because of that, I think that's sort of why he sort of just sticks with the same 11 whenever he possibly can. But at a certain point, like for this game, if he runs it back again and then they lose or look really bad against the Quakes, then we're all going to be sitting here being like, dog, you got to rotate. So anyway, Giani, I got James in the queue behind you here, but any last thoughts or takes you wanted to get out there, either about these last two games or the stretch run of the season coming up here?
Man, if Pedro doesn't start putting up, like, we got to move this dude. Like, I know I've been on this a little bit, but I know that people are saying that he's been having good games and that Jeremiah says when he sees him in practice, he looks like he's the best player on the field. Can it please show up on game day? Because I'm seeing a lot of runs into blind alleys where he takes on a guy, might beat him, goes to the next guy, loses it, gets into a crossing position, crosses it into the first defender, just shoots the ball, doesn't even put it on frame. Like, we need to start seeing like stats. We need to start seeing like the counting stats. Otherwise, like you can be like this darling on like the underlying numbers, but that's just not gonna cut it at the end of the day.
It really is that simple. And we were talking about this on our agenda check today, and I'd kind of just been thinking about like where that whole thing stands, and the reality is it's not like this is no longer a debate about like how you rate the player versus other people, how Schmetz rates the player versus how the fans rate the player, or if he's getting a fair shout, or like you said, like stat sheet production is black and white, and for a player in one of your DP spots, it has to be there. Otherwise it's going to hamstring you every time, at least to some extent.
And our third season with a DP riding the pine. Yeah,
and it's like it's either there or it's not. Like, it's not really a the reasoning behind it doesn't matter at this point. It's like it's make or break, I think, for the rest of the season here with that, because like what we're looking at right now is, I think, 5 goals, 3 assists in 46 all comps, and for a DP. So like that's just, it's not what it needs to be.
Yeah, it can't be this.
Yeah. Well, Giani, thanks for the call as always, man. Always love getting your take on the state of things. Great call, and we'll catch you for the next one.
For sure. See you later, man.
Yeah, take care. All right, we got James up next. Reese, he's getting on the stage right now. The link is in chat right above if anyone else wants to queue in. James is the only one in the queue right now, so if you want to hop on, lay down some takes, any are welcome to hop on here at Lobbing Scorchers Under the Lights. James, you're on the stage. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I got you. No tech issues this week. Let's go.
Goodness. Yeah, it's always the
James,
question.
I can't wait to get your take on this. I mean, the Seattle Sounders are picking up red cards and penalty kicks at an unprecedented historic rate. What do you make of all that after another 2 penalty kick in 3-minute doozy in a 3-3 draw versus Colorado?
Well, first of all, let me compliment your shirt. Is that Ebbets Field?
Yeah, it is. It's my mom got this for me.
I've loved Ebbets Field for decades.
Yeah, it's fire.
Yeah. I completely agree with the previous caller. It's fatigue. I thought that the Christian penalty, that was just tiredness. His first touch, he was slow to react. His second touch was a sliding challenge. Although Kim didn't cover himself in glory on his first touch in that sequence, nor did he cover himself with glory throughout the rest of the game. I didn't think. Hopefully he'll be able to kind of get back. There
wasn't a lot of glory covering going around just generally, I would say.
Certainly not in the second half. No. And we were kind of doing that thing again where the center backs were advancing back. Kim was up playing right wing at some point again. The thing that worked so well against Minnesota.
Yeah.
And Jackson, I thought, was pushing forward a little bit too much as well. But Thomas is inexperienced at this level, although what was your take on that? Because I thought he got a piece of the ball. I thought that was pretty clear in the replays.
I thought it was very, very tight. And that I could see how in real time the ref would award it. And it is one of those ones where if it does get awarded on the field, it's pretty hard to overturn. And then I would add that as close as it was, and he might have gotten the ball. I know after the game he was saying he felt like he got to it. It's just a situation where you don't need to come off your line and make that an issue to begin with. But I mean, I agree. Like, I thought he had a really good game outside of that. He made some nice saves, and that's one we were talking about it with Giani, but like the Andy T penalty and the KKR and RBW red cards, I think some stuff like that is the cost of doing business at like letting your young players actually play and make mistakes and learn from them and become better for it. So I can live with those like in isolation. It's just unfortunate that it's come in the context of a series where they have 6 penalties conceded and 5 red cards sustained in their last 6 games or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think that my first thought looking at this and the way it all played out was, well, why don't you start KKR right back? Because then you've got Alex on the bench who can at least come in to relieve his brother at some point in the game. You've got sort of a viable, I mean, he played central midfield in college. That's kind of his natural position.
It is. Yeah.
It's been a minute, but I mean, that's at least something, because Schmetzer clearly doesn't trust Leyva at all at this point. I mean, if you can't get on after having seen how Christian looked at the end of that Kansas City game and how he looked by halftime in this one, if he's not going to be able to get a game in that situation, and I'm not saying Schmetzer's wrong there, because the last time we started Leyva central midfield, it was the 4-0 loss to LAFC.
San Diego. Or was it LAFC?
Yeah, there was the away one where we got some heavy rotation. I don't remember. He started the San Diego one, but
I think the San Diego one was one where they rotated the double pivot. It was the JP Leyva double pivot. My question on that would be like, is it that he doesn't trust Danny Leyva, or that he doesn't necessarily trust a Danny Leyva Obed Vargas double pivot? If you have a Danny Leyva Christian pivot, you have the complementary skill sets. If you have a Danny Leyva JP double pivot, you have the complementary skill sets. And Obed Danny Leyva one, you don't have the complementary skill sets. I think that might be how he's thinking of it. Like, and that's why we're not. And it's tough because JP's injured. So it's like, what do? I think you have to like start giving Alex some run there. I don't really see.
I'd be lying if I said I never considered Jackson Reagan holding midfielder before, but with our center back situation, I don't know that.
I think Kim has done it in his career. I don't know if he's ever done it for Seattle. But
I don't know if I would do it with a 36-year-old Kim.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, but I agree with you on the Leva complementary skill set thing, but at some point, a guy who can run is going to offer you better options than Christian, who just can't at this point. It's to the point where I'm getting worried that this is going to be an injury. He's exhausted. And I know he's never going to complain about it, but talking about the youth and everything like that, it does feel like Schmetzer has gotten very vindictive, not the right word, but reactionary. These guys make one mistake and they're out of the lineup for an extended period of time, to the point where I know that Baker Whiting hasn't always excelled when he's played at left back, but starting John Bell instead is it doesn't suggest that Schmetzer has a lot of confidence there. Bell, he's not a natural left back, and I don't expect he's going to be here after the season. His contract's up, and I think he's going to want and deserve a raise that we're not going to be able to fit under the cap. And so I wish Schmetzer would it's kind of ride or die with Baker Whiting at this point. Nuhu is there's something going on there.
What do you think is going on? What's your theory?
I don't know. There were some personal issues maybe with last season. Maybe he's just falling out with Schmetzer a little bit. Maybe there's frustration that I think that he's kind of started a little more promisingly going forward at the beginning of the season, and then that's really kind of dried up, and he's not contributing much on offense. Maybe there's some frustration there. I don't, and maybe he just needs a change of scenery. Players get stale. It is, not everybody's going to be Paolo Maldini and play his entire career in one club. I think that it would be an opportunity to move him on. I mean, I think I looked at one thing that came to mind. Montreal is going to sell George Campbell to West Brom. Apparently, Montreal plays a back three. They're not a team that's going to go out and buy an expensive replacement. So that's somewhere that Nuhu can go, get an immediate start, get minutes at a position as a left center back in a back three that I think is going to extend his career beyond what he's going to be as a fullback. So I think there's an opportunity to move him on there, and then that opens up almost $600,000 to go out and find a veteran who's more of a two-way player.
Montreal is such like a perfect fit for Nuhu in theory. I just I don't know how he would handle being on a team that bad. Like the team's been pretty good the entire time he's been on the team. Like he's used to good on-field results, and they don't have that. So that could, I don't know, it could result in more crash outs.
It absolutely could, but Montreal's a really cheap team, so they're not going to be getting perfect players. It's something that makes sense to me anyway. I mean, I don't even care that much how much GAM or TAM we get. Nuhu's got his contract expires at the end of the year. There's one option year left, but then are you adding an option year on an unhappy player? Are you adding I don't want a repeat of the Arriaga thing where we ended up blowing $700,000 of cap space for literally no reason because we picked up that option on a player that just didn't have a future here. So I think that moving Nuhu, trying to find a veteran left back, somebody who's going to be able to mentor Baker Whiting in a way that Nuhu I don't think is suited to. That's also, I think, the best way to try to get something out of Baker Whiting's career, because I don't think he even has an option. I think he's just done at the end of the season. So we've got to make a decision there. But I think, Schmetzer, one thing, I was just looking this up because I thought it was interesting. Leyba got more minutes in 2019 as a 16-year-old than he got last season.
It seemed like he was really breaking in when he was like 16, 17. And then he did the loan to Colorado, came back, has pretty much just been buried on the depth chart since.
Yeah. With 2019, that was arguably our best team ever. I think I lean a little bit more towards 2020, but 2019 is up there. And so I think that gives Schmetzer a little bit more flexibility. It gives him a little bit more opportunity to put the kids in there because he knows that, he had Ruidiaz and Ladero to handle the heavy duties. And I think the team has fallen off from that level. So I don't think Schmetzer has the same trust that if I put a kid in there that somebody else is going to carry the weight. I think that's made him a little bit more cautious. He's described himself as pretty conservative when it comes to playing the young players. And I think that's been point of contention isn't the right word, but I think that's been a mismatch. I think there was a mismatch between him and Lagerwey in the last couple of years that Lagerwey was here. I sort of got the impression that Lagerwey largely gave up on signing anybody in 2021, 2022. And I kind of wondered if that was like, well, Lagerwey's put so much of his capital and some of his effort into this academy program. Well, I'm just going to make Schmetzer play because I'm not going to buy him anybody else. And now that's kind of turned around again because Weibel has signed a lot of starting players, although they've all got drawbacks. I mean, whether it's injuries or kind of a struggle to find a role in the team. But Schmetzer's got guys that he can throw out there. He's got veteran players he can throw out there and he just doesn't seem to be willing to take a risk on the young players. And so I think at some point it's like, we need to decide what we're doing here. Is this going to be a 2019, 2020 scenario where we're signing the best possible starting 11 plus bench and the kids get minutes if they get minutes? Or is this, does somebody need to kick Schmetz up the butt and say, look, we've sank so much money into this academy over the last decade. These kids need to get out there.
Yeah. Two Dudes Snape asks, where's Snyder Burnell? Reported a couple weeks ago that he will be signed, but I haven't heard anything since. That's one that I kind of want to see at this point. I know that internally they've been really high on him for a long time. I can't say that I've watched a little bit of him on Defiance, but not enough to know exactly what his skill set is. But I do know that Schmetz actually does. I mean, at least according to what he said, he does rate Snyder Burnell, and I can kind of tell when he's talking about a young guy, like the way he used to talk about RBW. You could tell, okay, he loves this kid. He really genuinely rates him as an MLS player. There's a couple others examples of that, and I would put Snyder Burnell in the category of young guys. When he talks about him, it's like, oh, okay, this is one. I think we'll see what happens. I think this is one that Schmetz might actually play. So that would be cool.
I mean, I'm just wary of burning roster spots at this point. I mean, we've seen really, with Georgie, we got a roster spot open. Weibel doesn't sign anybody in the summer. All right, throw Georgie up there. He gets a few games, has a few minutes, and he's nowhere near the depth chart now, unless it's a lost cause like Minneapolis, and Schmetzer's like, well, whatever. We're in a bit of a striker crisis. They sign Osaze. Nowhere near the starting 11 or one of the first names off the bench. So, I mean, at some point you're just burning roster spots. I mean, I know I'm being overly optimistic here, but for all the talk about the U22 slot, there's really 3 U22 slots. And I mean, you could make an argument that we should be getting a left back, a center mid, and a forward at this point in all 3 of those. I certainly don't expect that's going to happen. But
wouldn't you have, if you used all 3 of those spots, wouldn't it have a ripple effect where you would have to change how you build the rest of the roster with respect to how many senior DPs you have, or have cap ramifications and stuff like that? That's sort of my understanding for why it's kind of considered 1 spot and not 3, because yes, the other two are technically open, but if you were to fill them, then it would like mess up your model and your cap situation. But I don't know if that's exactly.
It wouldn't change your model because we've already got the 3 DPs. So your options are 2 DP 4U22 or 3 DP 3U22 at the now. In the past, it had to do with senior DPs versus.
Okay, so it is. I don't know them off the top of my head. It's 3 and 3, but then like you still have to fit everything under the cap.
Yeah, I mean they're between $150,000 and $200,000 each. So at max, you're talking about $600,000, which is exactly the amount that João Paulo makes. So you buy out his contract, and there's your money right there.
Well, there you go. You're got your GM hat on.
I'm
buy out the JP, but they're broke, so they're not going to buy out the JP contract.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, because I guess that's just straight cash out of Hanauer's pocket rather than from the salary cap.
We know how he gets about that.
If he doesn't have $300,000, then what are we doing? I mean, it's. I think
it might be like that. I don't know. I haven't seen the finances, but
I think you have to buy out JP anyway. I mean, it's
what was the amount of money the Club World Cup money he was crashing out in the locker room over? It was around 300, wasn't it?
I want to talk about that actually.
Yeah, please. Because there's no one in the queue, so spit.
That deal came out recently, and please correct me if I've got this wrong, but I think it was something like they added an extra $400,000 out of the base payment, so about an extra 5% of the media rights fee, the circa $9-10 million that went to the players on the 3 teams. But what they did is with the bonus money that you got for a draw or a win, the players got 30% of that with no cap. So this obviously worked out much to the favor of Miami especially, but also LAFC because they had that one draw. And really didn't help the Sounders all that much. They got an extra 4% of the money. And what struck me about this deal was that it said it was agreed to right before Miami started their round of 16 game. So this wasn't even like a speculative thing where you say, well, this is probably not going to work out for the Sounders because they've got by far the hardest group. It was a post facto thing. We already knew that this was going to work out much better for LAFC and Miami. So I don't know if that was just bad negotiation on the players' part. I don't know if that was the only thing that they could do, but it kind of, to me, it tied into the Hanauer crash out because it's like, well, of course the deal worked out in such a way that that he had to pay out the least to the players versus the Miami or the LAFC owners, because I assumed all along they would have been happy to give the guys money, and Hanauer was the real problem.
Yeah, that's I hadn't really thought about it from that way. I mean, like the figure I saw is they got $400K to split on top of the 1 million. That's what and then so you're saying that Inter Miami and LAFC, there's like a percentage extra that they threw onto the player bonuses from the results that they got.
That was what was in Saturday at Heart, that it was 30% of the win-lose money, or excuse me, draw-win money. And then obviously Miami got I'm pretty sure that they got a really good chunk. I mean, off the top of my head, I think the players might have gotten 4.5 million somewhere in there in bonuses. So, the deal obviously worked out a lot. Great for Miami, fairly well for LAFC, and the Sounders players didn't get as much as those guys. So that's kind of a bummer.
That, group of death, I guess. That's
yeah.
At least they got the extra 400K. It's not really that much at all when you think about the grand scheme of what the owners and the oligarchs are getting. But I was glad to see that they got at least a little extra, because there's not many just like people in the workforce that can do that. Like
no,
most people, you go to your boss and you say, I want more money, and they say no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So it was a fun little thing to watch them do that and then actually get $400K, that's not bad. That's
it's over $10,000 per player, which is nothing to sneeze at. What they'll probably pay 1 month's rent in Seattle, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah. So
I would take that.
It was, but it is frustrating that they're the ones who took the risk. They're the ones who took the heat from their owner, and they got the least out of the protests. Kind of sucks. And some of that is, and really, to me, like you said, it's the group of death. It's not even something where you can say get good. It's like
no, that's but also I do think, at least for me, there's a part of it that's just about the principle, like. Yeah. The way that they had that split was just blatantly bullshit. So the fact that got corrected even slightly, I think, is a good thing. And glad they did it.
10,000. Their T-shirt investment got them $10,000 each. That ain't bad.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder how much those shirts cost to make. They were pretty funny.
That's a hell of an ROI. They got to be running this show. They've obviously got an eye for profit.
Exactly. Well, James, I don't have anyone in the queue behind you right now. Might be a short one tonight, but is there any other topics that you were thinking about or wanted to hit? We got time.
Yeah, I'll just say that I think you were maybe overselling how good the offense looked. Not necessarily in the shot creation, because that wasn't bad. There were a couple very presentable chances that were missed, and ultimately our goals. You've got the mother of all deflections for the Obed goal, and then you've got a good hit from Rusnak, but it was a catastrophic keeper error. So that's I don't think that as the previous caller mentioned, the Miami score one more than you thing. I don't know that kind of scoring is sustainable.
I thought what we saw in the first half at KC and against Colorado in this game did strike me as certainly as like sustainable of good offense and chance generation as we've seen from that specific personnel. Like the KC game, there was a lot of other good chances that they had in that game. Rusnak had the one cleared off the line. There's a couple others that I can't remember, but then in this one, I thought Ferreira had two really nice looks. He had the one on the breakaway that got saved, and then he had another that was kind of right at Stefan, but it was a nice shot with like some power on it. So like I thought the output that they ended up getting was fair for the chances that they generated, which is kind of what I look for. It's like, maybe you get like a Obed deflection goal, but like the question is, are you generating enough looks and high quality looks to where if you do get a fortunate deflection like that, does it feel deserved? Does it feel not deserved? I felt like the output that they got was deserved based on how they play. So that's sort of when I'm evaluating like how high at a level the attack is functioning. If they're up 3-0, but they weren't generating good chances and every single goal was just like a total fluke, then it's like, all right, yeah, you got good output, but it didn't really come from anything that you're going to be able to do going forward. Whereas I didn't get that feeling in these last two games. This felt like situations where they were on top of the other team. They were generating good looks. They were good, sharp in possession. And then ultimately they got rewarded with the output, which was 6 goals in the 2 games. So I'll take that all day. It's just, you do have to sustain it. That is number one. Like it's a 2-game sample that we've seen of that front four, or I guess that band of 3 and then Moose and Jordan rotating. That's like a 2-game sample of them doing that. So that's like what they have to do going forward. But I was encouraged by what I saw as far as how they played, at least in the first half.
Yeah, and I totally understand what you're saying, and that's a fair point. And I think you could also argue that, hey, if it's Jordan taking those shots instead of Musovski, maybe those are goals instead of side net. At the same time, Kansas City are not a very good team. Colorado didn't play well in that first half. And then, when it comes to Columbus, it's a 1 goal, it's a 1-1 draw. So I don't think that we can rely on the score more. I don't think we can rely on scoring 3 goals every game.
No, but that's the Sounders just like Schmetzer ball. It's never going to be that type of team where it's like run and gun. And if they get us for a couple, we're just going to outgun them. Like that's not how this team plays.
Yeah, I agree, and to me that just stresses the importance of getting those guys in the midfield some rest, especially Christian. But Alex too. I mean, I thought Alex got subbed off after his contortionist antics against Kansas City.
Yeah, that was awesome.
He was looking like he was hurting, and he was looking like he was tired too. So if we don't get those guys some rest, I don't think we're going to keep up that level of offensive output when we start facing better teams. But we might keep giving up the same number of goals if our team is just this wiped. I mean, hopefully, I really do think that if Weibel doesn't have a holding midfielder, I mean, whether it's a U22 or whether it's an inter MLS trade, some veteran Gustav Svensson type player from Europe, if he's not lined up for the first day of the transfer window, I think the media ought to be asking him some serious questions, because that's we can't get through with Christian being the only holding midfielder right there.
No, yeah, that's an absolute necessity with the JP injury. All right, James, I got Joe in the queue behind you, but any parting words, or was that pretty much what you got?
Nope. Thank you for the time, and have a great evening.
Absolutely, great call as always, man, and we'll talk to you next time. Take care. Always good to hear from James. Joe, going to bring you in next. If you can hear me, go ahead and throw me the thumbs up, and I'll bring you on the stage. Not getting the thumbs up from Joe, so I don't think that he can hear me. Joe, can you hear me now? I think you're either, yeah, okay. You're talking, and then I can't hear you. So maybe check your inputs in your tech or something, and then we'll do the thumbs up system. And then if you do think that you might have figured it out, give me one of these, and we'll get you on here. Actually, I mean, can you hear me? Joe, talk.
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay, yep, there you are. Got you. Nice. Good tech work through. Joe, thanks for calling in.
Okay.
How are you feeling after a 3-3 draw against the Colorado Rapids, which saw the Seattle Sounders give up 2 penalties in 3 minutes? Wait, are you muted again? Okay, no, you're on. Yeah, go ahead. Dish your takes.
No, sorry, my computer's doing something weird at the moment. I'm okay, but I actually wanted to call in to ask you about, did you see Adrian's comments during the annual meeting at when he was asked about the shirts?
The quote I saw, and I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to,
that.
But I think the quote I saw was he said something like, "I became a pariah owner" or something. Is that what you're talking about, or is it a different quote?
Well, he said something along the lines of it was no one went everyone hates the millionaire owner went right after the situation like that happens, and he was it was all oh, poor me, and it pissed me off. It was just one of those weird things of just are you really that strapped for cash that you're that upset about the t-shirts? That even when they made the comment of did the it was what a deal is, and it was oh, nothing gets people more upset about millionaires except for when it's about a millionaire owner.
Yeah, that's the quote that I was.
Sell the team, man. If that's really what you for me, it was just it was so annoying. And then now it even before that, it was you don't spend money. So what's really what's the point? This is in. Craig even was yeah, that was actually my question. Thank you for answering it. And it was Craig basically elbowing him to spend money and stop being whiny about it. And it's just I don't know what it has been since COVID, but they've been really hesitant to spend anything. I understand people's frustration on Jesus Ferreira, and like basically Jesus Ferreira, Ryan Kemp, but like Jesus Ferreira came in on GAM transfer, not the cash transfer, GAM.
Yeah.
And it was like, why did they choose that? And it was like, because he's cheap.
Yeah, it was
he's starting to frustrate me in like,
yeah,
or like he's been frustrating me for a while.
The millionaire, like everyone hates the millionaire owner angle. I mean, it's just like the press that came from that was because you crashed out in the locker room. So that sounds like
I'll let you go.
Are you okay? Yeah, it sounds like you're bugging out a little bit.
I was gonna say my computer's acting weird, so I'll let you go. So if you don't.
All right, yeah, no worries. We figured out the tech enough to get the one take out there. So appreciate you, Joe. We'll catch you next time. Hopefully the tech and audio will be kinder, but appreciate you guys all calling in. Yeah, I mean, I did see those Hanauer quotes, but I don't remember exactly what he was talking about. But you know, if it was me in that situation, which it's not, I might go with the more like, my bad, I lost my cool angle. I don't know. The oligarch class, they have like a different way of thinking about things. They definitely don't like it when, I think part of the reason he got so mad was because he was with the FIFA squad, the FIFA oligarchs, which those are some of the highest ranking oligarchs out there. So think about that. He was sitting in the suite with those guys. And then the whole team came out wearing cash grab shirts with the Monopoly guy on it, with the FIFA logo on it. It's just not something that the oligarch class takes kindly to. Especially when you're with like the panel of some of the top ones. Those, I mean, I'm telling you, those FIFA ones, they're high ranking. They're high ranking in that class. Bad Sequels, thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. Sorry, I missed that earlier. Chad, if you're watching, I haven't seen you in chat tonight, but I'm sorry I skipped your super chat on one of the last streams. I didn't mean to. It was not because I was trying to ignore your take, whatever it was about. Sometimes those post-game lives where I'm doing double duty are tough. When I'm taking calls and doing other stuff at the same time. I got to be more locked in on chat. It's not really a good reason because all of the super chats are in their own separate tab that I can just click on and see them all. So my fault though. All right. No one else in the queue right now. I'm going to drop the link in chat one more time. I'm good to hang around for a couple more if anyone has got thoughts or takes that they want to get out there. While we wait for that, I'll check out what discourse we got flowing in chat a little bit, and then maybe pull up these archive kits. We can talk about which ones are our favorites other than Seattle's. You know, I think Seattle's my favorite one, but I'm biased in that way. But they were all incredible. You already talk about how Paul immediately passed it to Josh when he got subbed on. Paul Rothrock? Which Paul are we talking about? Because Paul Rothrock when Josh got subbed on. I thought you were saying Paul got subbed on. I was like, no, he wasn't. He started. I missed that, but it was I was a little tilted that Armas didn't start Josh Atencio. It's his homecoming. You're starting Connor Ronan instead of our boy Josh Atencio. I will say, I think the Atencio trade was great, and when you have a deal like that on the table, you should always do it. Would be nice to have him on the team right now. It would be real nice. But like, I don't think you can. Some people were doing Monday morning quarterback, and with that, I think with how the roster was at the time and with 1.3 million in GAM or whatever it was on the table, you got to take that. That's part of the benefit of investing in the academy like that, is deals like that. You can make them happen. So I still think it was a good trade, but it would be nice to have Josh on the team right now. All right. Hang around for, let's see, I'm at an hour 15. Hang around till an hour 30. See if anyone else wants to queue in. Link is in chat right there if you do. While we wait for that, let's just pull up these. Let's pull these up. I want to look at him again anyway. Oh, actually, okay, we got a caller. Never mind then. We got Hunch, the man himself. Hunch, going to bring you to the stage right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. How's it going, Hunch? 3 draw against the Colorado Rapids and 5 red cards and 6 PKs conceded in our last 6 league games. History, baby. What do you think?
I'm not enthralled.
Yeah, no, it's not good history, is it? It's not milestones that you want.
I've said it on Blue Sky or whatever, and I'm sure some people have seen it or whatever, and I've commented before, but I'm not a this person out or that person out or whatever, but this is beyond a trend. I mean, they say, you have single points and then multiple points make a line and then multiple lines make a trend. And you start at the top. It's discipline, man. Like,
yeah.
Actually, let me go back. I thought about this last night and I was talking to a friend of mine about this. It's fundamentally panic. And when people hear panic, they think, oh, panic losing or panic losing or panic, I'm in a burning building, I'm panicking. No, panic is what someone maybe instinctually or maybe subconsciously or just reactively does in a situation when their preparation and training and expertise fails them. And it doesn't have to be anything like drastic. It can be a small pseudo reaction to, oh, I'm worried about this, and you reach out and you grab somebody in the case of like soccer, or you do something silly. But doing that, say like in the case of Nuhu in his first red card back in Vancouver, he panicked when he realized he had to cover running back. And then as it was progressing that the situation was deteriorating, he panicked more and grabbed and then just decided to take him down. Well, one panic decision led to another. He could have just blocked off that right foot, gone right on the right shoulder of whatever the offensive player was, let Fry be clear that this guy's going to have to go to his left, and not panic and just trust that Fry or that other defenders would close instead of pulling him down. That comes from a lack of trust and understanding and preparation from him believing like the system's going to work, or that you can afford to give up a goal and not be worried that the team can't recover from that. But instead you make a snap decision, even a small one or a series of them, and it leads to a catastrophic event. I mean, I don't remember where I saw it or read it, but this kind of thing is highly, highly, highly trained out of people who like travel to space, for example, or travel underwater. You can't afford to have panic moments because just 2 or 3 and suddenly it's exponentially worse, even though you didn't intend. You just, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. It seems to be happening again and again and again. And to me, what that says is, what is the mindset of the player and players? And you can extrapolate from that. And maybe I'm going on a diatribe here.
No, you're good. That's what these call-in shows are for, is diatribes. So no, I think I get what you're saying. It's like those panic moments, which like that's athletes. That's a big part of what they train on. Is like it's all, being an athlete's all about like cool under pressure, and we're not seeing cool under pressure right now.
You don't even have to be cool. You have to be confident.
Yeah.
Like you can be worried, you can be stressed, you can be adrenaline high, but confident in what needs to happen. Or if you fail to do something, confident that the guys behind you or whomever are going to handle or do something that you're confident in. Like, oh, I've let this guy by me. I'm not going to have to be the guy to solo run him down, but chances are the center back's pulling over. I'm going to turn around and run back towards the center as that back is coming from center to left, for example. Confident in that kind of way. But so you extrapolate. You say, okay, well, all of these panic, quote unquote, moves by the players seem to be on the defensive side because that's how we're getting penalized in terms of where the nature of these things, these panic moments happen.
They stand out more and affect the game more when it's a defensive error. If you panic and hit a shot, it's not as high stakes as if you get a red card or give away a penalty.
Well, it'd be real easy to derive from that then that, we're having issues where panic moves are leading to defensive deconstructions, failings, whatever you want to call them. Therefore, it must be a defensive problem. And I don't think that is fair either. Because what you have to then go even further, say, why are these defensive situations happening that cause the panic to begin with? And then we start to look, well, it's a little bit further upfield, or it's the bad passes out of the back, or it's, combination of these things. It's like, maybe it's somewhere in the midfield where we're giving things away that's putting our defense in the bad position, or maybe it's someplace further up. So just because we're seeing defensive failings and we're seeing what I'm calling panic to cause these things, I don't think that firmly points the finger as, well, it's all the defense's fault. And I'm not saying that they're free of it, but I think there's more to it.
Yeah.
So
well, first of all, I thought Schmetz's quote on Nuhu in particular was kind of funny. Did you see? He was getting grilled about it at training this week, and obviously Nuhu came up and he was like, "Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is the first time that he has thrown a ball into the stands and then flipped off the ref." And it's like, okay, technically, yes, it is the first time that he has made international headlines for getting a red card where he threw the ball in the stands and flipped off the ref. However, I would posit that there have been other situations as well that do suggest a pattern there.
Yes.
So that's one thing. But when I look, we were talking about it earlier, but when I look at these red cards as a whole, I think they're a bit of different categories, like we've discussed. I think there are a couple that were panic moments that you're talking about. The Nuhu one in Vancouver, RBW. A lot of the penalties those are examples of moments where your head's you lose it for a split second, and then that's what happens. But I think other factors, fatigue, I think is definitely coming into play right now. The Christian penalty, as others have pointed out, that's an example of a dude who's played 1,800 minutes in the last 19 days.
Was this the first penalty? Because I barely saw
it's
that.
No, that was his was the, or his was the first one. His was the first one because Andy.
I thought that was weak. I thought it was a weak.
Okay,
call.
Yes, that one was soft, and so was the Moose one in KC. But for me, I'm like, all right, if you go 2 games in a row and you concede one on the exact same kind of type of situation, you just got to be real on it about not going into a challenge and not making that contact at all and leaving yourself susceptible to that, because I think they were both soft, but it got called on you twice in a row. So you have to think of it from a way of like, how do I avoid even giving the ref the chance to make that decision, right?
Well, yes, and not to mention it was so lightweight that there wasn't enough to overturn it even in VAR. You'd say, well, there is contact, and he did call it. If he didn't call it, VAR would not have called him to go look at either one of those, I don't think. But it's like there was not enough to say, well, there's not contact, so it's got to go the way he called. And I'll say this, I believe Thomas is the heir apparent. Now, maybe
I think so. I feel pretty fine about that. It
may be a year or two away, but this is exactly how Zach Steffen got himself played out of this thing, and he had 2 of those, I think, in back-to-back games, where he comes out and comes in hard, and the ball's not moving towards the frame. It's in the box, but it's moving away, and he just cleans him out almost as softly as that one was. But the forward knows what he's doing there. I will say this: if I don't know the player's name for Colorado, but if he had chipped that ball towards goal as opposed to away, you're looking at a red card, because then it's a dog. So we got lucky that he tipped it.
I thought that was like the first thought that went into my head when I saw that he pointed out the spot. I was like, oh my God, that's dog so too.
But
Andy T is about to get sent off, extend the streak.
Right, yeah. At both a penalty kick and a red card, he's going double dipping.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought happened. I was like, oh my God, you gotta be joking right
but
now.
I forgive him. And the fact that it was a minute later was not great. I mean,
he had a good game other than that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones where like a young guy, like you have to go through it to like learn from it so it doesn't happen again. That's the thing about like the some of the mistakes that RBW has made, and like
that's a
KKR. Like you go through it and then ideally grow from it.
So that was a precise moment of a panic right there again from Thomas. One, his adrenaline's up. Two, I think if he's on his line and he evaluates the ball where it's headed and doesn't come off of his line, but maybe takes a step forward, he's fine.
Yep.
If he starts to come out, now he knows he's in no man's land and he can't not go.
He was trying to commit. He was trying to full send. Like, all right, if I leave right now, I am charging. And he just made the slightly wrong calculus.
Well, you can't go 2/3 of the way. That is the worst possible. And so again, once he's halfway there, he's like, okay, panic sets in. It's like, I got to full commit to this and I've got to go for it. Now, the thing is I think he could have closed in and not slid, and it sure made it look bad, but it's better than a PK in my opinion.
The risk reward there was not assessed correctly. At that point, you are up 2 goals still. Yeah. So I think he probably got to his head like, oh man, this guy, the striker's bearing down on me, and this could be a breakaway. And if he scores this, it's going to be 3-2. But then it's like, well, if I charge off my line and I get called for a foul, then it's definitely going to be 3-2, and we give up our second PK in 3 minutes.
I think he was halfway, and he was he was too far forward to remain back, and he couldn't. He was in no man's land. He had to commit. Like after 2 steps out, he's going. Because then he's just ineffectual overall. I did make the mistake when we're in the stands again, talking to people standing there. I was like, right when we scored in the second half, I was like, see, this is how we need to start the second half. This is what we need to do. Not like Kansas City. This is what we like to see. And then literally from there, just all goes downhill. Like we did the thing we needed to, and then just.
It's wild. I almost 6 PKs and 5 red cards. Like I almost can't even take that seriously.
So what up to? Okay, so going back to that, panic, discipline, training, like what? Somewhere, somehow, this has got to be resolved. And I red cards in the attacking third, or even I would say this, red cards in the way that not that he earned them. Well, okay. It was way before my time, but like when the Raiders in football back in like the 70s, like people were terrified of them and they played dirty, and but you were afraid. Like it was in the opponent's mindset. We aren't establishing anything with our red cards other than we make mistakes. We're not intimidating. Like if we were cleaning people out and making people second guess about whether or not they wanted to go up for that cross, or doing, and I don't mean to be dirty. I'm saying like just physical. It'd be different if that's how we were earning our red cards, because you're imposing, you're creating.
No, these are like bad news. These are like bad news bears.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's like
the other team's like, what are these guys doing out here? We were trying to lose this game. What are they doing?
So it's got to be stuff that's cleaned up. And I mean,
it should theoretically be clean upable. That's what that's how I'm coping right now. It's like, I look at it and I'm like, all right, 11 separate instances in the last 6 games of just absolutely shooting yourself in the foot in the most egregious manner possible in games where you are beating the brakes off the other team. Sporting KC, they were beating the shit out of that team in the first half. Colorado Rapids, they were beating the shit out of that team in the first half. Like I don't know if it's as simple as like they got fatigued in the second half both times and it got out of control, and like the lead was dwindling, so you couldn't make subs when you wanted to, maybe that type of stuff. But like it's self-inflicted wounds in game states and scenarios where you're ahead, you're up 3-0. You did being up 3-0 is like one of the most at the best situations you could be in.
You
Like,
think so.
You would think.
Looking at the stats though, going into halftime, and even like 2/3 of the way through the game, Colorado was statistically not as out of it as everything would represent. Like I think they had something like 7 or 8 or maybe even 9 corner kicks, and we had 0. Like going close to the end of the first half.
And Andy T did have to make a couple saves.
Yeah, and then we were ahead of them by like a couple shots. It was something like 12-10 or something like that. That goal where, I mean, talk about goalkeeper mistakes. So let's trade one for the other. We get rid of the PK. You get rid of Zach running all the way to the corner, a la Steph in Vancouver.
It was the
ago.
exact Steph Freihauler that launched his career because Ziggy stayed loyal to him and trusted him.
Yeah.
And that gesture meant so much to him that he became one of the greatest goalkeepers in MLS history. So maybe Zach Steffen's going to be on that path after that.
So you get rid of those two. Now you're talking about we have a 1-goal lead coming into the first half if you get rid of the fluke. We have a second goal at the beginning that was pretty decent. They got a PK that you could argue one way or the other, and then they scored on us. So 2-2 was about where it was at. And then if you look at all the other stats, other than fouls where they were ahead of us a good bit, it was statistically fairly matched. Now, I've not looked at the passing percentages, although I think Jonathan Bell probably killed our percentages there. I thought he did well in handling and dribbling. I thought his vision was bad in terms of making, like, we were pinned down in our corner one time, and I think he got past the ball and then tried to push it up 3 times, and 3 times it got intercepted right back down to the corner. And I was like, oh my God, we can't keep doing this, guys. Just clear it out if you're going to do that. And as far as him going at left outside, I mean, I don't think it's much different than giving Alex runs in the middle. It's like we've got to diversify, and if that's a shot towards RBW and Nuhu, okay, fine. But I think RBW could win the spot if he's gets the minutes. But
I think the reason he went J-Bell there is because J-Bell is like more reliable defensively in theory, where RBW is like the fun loose cannon that gets forward and can actually contribute to the attack, whereas J-Bell is like the steadier defensive presence.
Well, so here's the other thing that kind of bugged me, though, I'll say in the game, is we were up 3-2, and the 2 subs were lined up, and they were Pedro de la Vega and
Ryan Kent.
Nope, it wasn't Kent.
Oh, they didn't come on together?
Well, they did, but he only had 2 subs lined up, and who was the other person that subbed on?
I can look it up. I can't. There was a lot of subs in the second half.
Well, so we started the half with Kim Kee-Hee. Morris came on by himself, and then we had our 3 remaining in one window, and it was Pedro de la Vega and somebody for Rothrock, maybe. I don't remember. Whoever it was, maybe it was RB. Did RBW get in this game?
RBW, yeah.
Yeah.
RBW.
So the 2 of them. So you had RBW and Pedro lined up in a 3-2 game. And I was like, well, this is an interesting, like, we're bleeding here.
There were 9 yellow cards in this game.
Yeah. We're starting to bleed here. It's 3-2. We just gave up 2 goals in quick succession. And our answer to that is Pedro and RBW. And I was like, I'm not sure I quite get that. And then before the window was officially put in, they brought in Kent. And I was like, I get what we're doing, that we're mixing up the wings there, but is that and taking off Jesus, who was good in possession, I thought, and that's kind of what we needed to do to get control, is to grab it by the scruff of the neck, and we needed people who could possess. So I was like, I don't think this is going to fix the bleeding here, whether defensively or possession, but maybe it's a stamina and legs thing. I don't know. That felt weird game state wise to me. I would have pulled both those subs back and reevaluated, because while the subs were standing there, we were ahead by 1, and before they got on the field, we were tied. I would have brought him back and reconsidered, but I don't know what the answer would have been. I'm just saying game state changed, and now you need to go for it, because you got to be worried that 2 things: Colorado's going to bunker, and potentially they're going to counter and go for it as well, because the blood's in the water.
Yeah, so, yeah. Hunch, I got Brendan in the queue behind you, but last thoughts, takes.
Wild card. Do you remember when we played PSG and they had the kickoff in this first half and they just bombed the ball down the field out of bounds in our corner, and people were like, "Is this like some?"
I don't remember that, but
yeah, they did it against Miami too. So it's like this is their kickoff.
That's their thing.
It's just to kick it down in the corner out of bounds for their team. People thought, oh, they're being nice to Seattle. And I was like, this is weird too. It got brought up. I don't know why I remembered it, but I was just like, I've seen them do it in several matches. I don't know the strategy there, but interesting point. Anyway, I don't know what to think of San Jose. If we truly are that tired, I'm worried.
I mean, I think the big thing that everyone is waiting to see here is just what if any rotation we do see, because this me and Nico on Lobbing Scorchers kickoff projecting an entirely rotated lineup and then it not happening at all. It kind of really drilled home for me. Like, I should never predict that. It's just not something that Schmetz does that much. And
they have a full week before the next match. So you really get a full reset because it's in Atlanta a week from Saturday or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to think. Yeah, there was some other thing I was going to say and I don't remember now, but that's the last game before League Cup. So
yeah, and this is why it's a big stretch of games, because you're going to have to be juggling and rotating even more. But all right, Hunch, thanks as always for the call. Thanks. Always love getting your takes.
Yep.
We'll catch you next time.
See you, man.
Take care. All right, we got Brendan up next. Brendan, if you can hear me, give me that little thumbs up. All right, no tech issues here. Brendan, what is up, man? Thanks for calling in.
How's it going?
It's going okay. We're coping. We're getting by here. Seattle Sounders 3-3 draw in which they gave up 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes as part of a stretch of games where they've given up 6 PKs and gotten 5 red cards in 6 league games. What do you think of all this?
You know, it's driving me crazy, to be honest. I was a soccer coach for 7 years, not, anything like that. It was like high school, middle school kind of stuff. But just to have so many cards, yellow cards, I understand the tactical fouls, that kind of thing. That's fine. But to have emotional outbursts, we saw a couple of those. To get red cards from being unable to control yourself is just so frustrating as a fan to watch. And
especially when you go up 3-0 in the first half twice.
Yeah,
you don't even need to do it. You're winning the game by 3 goals. Just lock in and don't get thrown out of the game. Don't give up multiple penalty kicks and you win the game easily.
Yeah, Roldan's, I think it was just an accident. He didn't see him, right? And he started to swing through. And so I can kind of forgive that one. It happens,
The young guys I can forgive as well. Andy T, I can forgive. RBW, KKR, it's all forgiven. It's just it's unfortunate that it's piled up. Nuhu's a separate discussion. But young guys making mistakes, or Christian Roldan getting a PK when he's on his 1,952nd minute of soccer played in the last 3 weeks, that stuff I can live with it. It's just piled up all at once.
But I watched the press conference with Schmetzer, and he was visibly irritated about it, but he was also apologizing for them. He was saying, these are isolated incidents. And yeah, it's an isolated incident until you zoom out and you see that we're contending for a record now.
It's literally a historic pace. It's not I see first of all, I noticed the same stuff about not just his presser last night, but how he's been handling this, because obviously when the team you coach picks up 5 red cards and concedes 6 penalties in 6 games, you're going to get asked about that. And on one level, I understand how he's handling it, because part of his job is protecting his players in situations where if there's going to be criticism from the outside, he's not going to pile on that as the guy who's coaching them. So I get that. But also I think you can say both things. You can be look, I don't really see a common thread on these incidents. A few of them were fluky. The J Bell one, that was unlucky. A couple of them were young guys that made mistakes. But that being said, it's not good or acceptable for this stuff to be happening in the volume that it is right now. So I've been very clear about that, and I'm gonna be firm on this. And what this sequence of events is not cool. He hasn't been saying any of that. He's basically been saying like it's all isolated. We're just going to deal with it. It's not like a pattern that we've had historically. So it's fine, which like, that's fine to say. But then when you go out the next game and then give up 2 more PKs, it's like,
yeah. And then, I know that it's a smaller issue, but Reagan picking up a yellow card and he's going to miss the next game with accumulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like we do play very passionate sometimes, right? You see that from Christian. You see that people getting in the referee's face and talking. And, like I know it's part of the game and it's an emotional game, but they can't control themselves. And like this is something that feels like such an unforced error. So I don't understand why Schmetzer can't do something to try to rein these guys in a little bit, to try to teach them, to control themselves. Don't kick the ball away when the other team has a free kick. Don't kick the ball away because that's a guaranteed yellow.
He claims that he was genuinely kicking it back to where he thought the free kick was.
Yeah, I heard that about Reagan's, but
yeah,
there's been other times in other games where the ball is set down and out of frustration somebody kicks it away, and it's just a soft mentality, and these guys should know better. They're professionals. They should be able to regulate their emotions and control themselves because they're getting paid to do it. And you need to be able to not hurt yourself and not hurt the team by possibly jeopardizing yourself, because you're putting yourself on a yellow for no reason.
I don't think this is necessarily a mentally weak team based off this last stretch, because I think if you look at just like the big picture historically, I would consider like being in control and not having situations like this as kind of a strength of a Brian Schmetzer coach team over the years. And I would say like what we're seeing right now is out of character from what we've seen historically.
Mm-hmm.
However, the stuff we are seeing, that is stuff that a mentally weak team does. Shoots themselves in the foot, gets frustrated and crashes out at the ref, yellows for dissent. That is stuff that happens when you're just not locked for whatever reason. So if it continues, I think like the mental fortitude, that stuff is going to get talked about, because those are just like telltale things that happen when you don't have that fortitude.
Yeah, I want somebody on this team who is calm under pressure, who's collected. I want somebody to be the captain who can lead the way and show the way like that, because I feel like the guys that we have, even Steph, awesome dude, but he's really hot-headed. He can get really upset about things, and
I will say on that note, it was fantastic. I haven't even mentioned this. We talked about the offense in the first half, but wasn't having Ymar back freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like that was like one of the best halves I've ever seen him play. Like, honestly, like he was flying around. He was getting interceptions. He was going into tackles, but winning them clean. He was winning the ball. He was pinging his passes around. He was just stuffing the attackers anytime they tried to make runs. So yeah. I think what I'm hoping that him being back, he didn't play the second half. So hopefully that provides some of that calmness and that leadership that you're talking about. I think that's one of his sneaky important roles on the team that they've been missing while he's been out. But it can't all come down to one guy. You also have to be able to make it through a game without getting a red card or conceding multiple penalties, like regardless of who's starting at center back.
Yeah, Yamar's great. I like him and Reagan as a pair. It feels really good. Kim had a couple moments that were not so great. That put him. There was one where he was out of position, and I think it ended up leading to a goal or a goal scoring opportunity. And then taking the card obviously was not great. But Kim generally, I feel okay about him too.
I agree. It wasn't his best game, but for the most part, I think Kim has provided great value for this team this year.
I do think, as the previous caller Hunch was talking about, Ryan Kent.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, why are we putting him back on the field? Like Pedro de la Vega. Hang on, Pedro de la Vega. He goes out there and he hustles, right? He looks like Nico Ladero. He's just hustling. He's got a huge motor. Now he's not as good. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's not, generating offense like that, but he's working his butt off. And it reminds me of like Rothrock. Like he's willing to chase, he's willing to run, he's willing to play. Ryan Kent, he's not making those runs really. He's a very skilled technical player, but he's not generating anything after those first 2 games. So I'm sitting here watching the game, and I feel like the game is getting away from us. And I'm thinking to myself, I would much rather have Manungu out there because I feel like he's threatening. He's scary. He's fast. He can do something. Now, has he ever like really gotten a ball in that's been converted into a goal?
He has two career assists.
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah. So, but at least it's entertaining. There's a possibility of it. I feel like, they said Kent has been subbed on like 7 or 8 times or something. And I just feel like it's a thoughtless substitution, and it's not really doing anything to change the game or benefit us in any way.
I'll get my take on that. That is an issue right now, which has been for a few weeks. I fully stand by how lit we were on this show about Ryan Kent after those first 2 games. He looked incredible. He was destroying every defender in sight. He was generating like the most dangerous chances of anyone on the team for those 2 games. He has not recaptured that form since then. I don't know how much of that is other teams scouting him up and figuring out how to neutralize him. He, again, last night, you could see they were sending 2-3 guys at him. There's these times where he tries to take him on by himself, gets dispossessed. That's happened a lot in his substitute cameos lately. So getting him going again and looking like that Ryan Kent, that would do wonders for this team's ceiling if they can tap back into that. And I guess that's sort of to the question of like, why keep playing him? For me, it's like I just still have those first 2 games in my head where it's like he's doing stuff that like most other players just like can't do. And certainly it's like a different kind of skill set and a different kind of quality, I think, than they have on at that position on this roster. De La Vega is theoretically supposed to bring those same attributes, but he hasn't really shown the final product consistently that Ryan Kent did in those first couple games. Like he was generating those chances that were just like so like, remember the one he generated that he did in Houston where it was like Rusnak or De La Vega could have scored it. That's how good a chance it was. So like for me, I think about it and I'm like, I still see that stuff. And God, if he could start doing that stuff again, how good would that be for the team? So it's like, I get giving him run, but then it's also like you were saying, it hasn't been effective, but also you can see his body language. Like he's frustrated. He doesn't look happy playing out there like he did earlier in his, like when he first got here.
It's tough because when you're frustrated like that, there's two ways of thinking about it. Like play through it and try and, sort of do what like Jesus Ferreira has done, where he's suddenly gotten hot, right? And you can see he's totally changed. His body language is totally different. He's now a more dangerous player. Or, if you're playing like garbage, throw him on the bench and give somebody else a chance.
I agree with your Georgie take. I was advocating for him to play in the Club World Cup, and I agree that with Georgie, it might be issues with the final product in a similar way that there is with De La Vega, but when he's running at people, it's like intimidating. It adds like a element to he has his own kind of unique element that he can add that no one else has, like that raw like power when they're running.
Like he can beat people off the dribble, and like there were opportunities last night, like when you have Jordan Morris out there, like that one sub, if you had switched out Ryan Kent for Manungu is so dynamic. You have Jordan crashing the net, and you just throw it in there and hope for good things to happen. Whereas I feel like with Kent, he's just not getting the ball through. He's getting dispossessed. He's trying to beat guys one-on-one on the back line and losing control of the ball. It's just ineffective. And I feel like I just have no confidence in him when he goes out. And so I wonder what Schmetzer's doing. And, I feel like he's not being thoughtful in his substitutions is all. So,
yeah, I mean, I can understand giving De La Vega and Ryan Kent run. I was advocating for them to start before the game, but my thing with the subs last night, at least, was I wish it had come earlier. And, I understand that the time that elapsed between when Rusnak scored the third goal and when Seattle gave up the first penalty, it wasn't even enough time to start emptying the bench. It happened immediately. But then maybe even when it's 3-1, I don't know. It felt like what happened was he was maybe planning on doing the subs earlier, but then they started giving up penalty kicks again. And he was just like, all right, well, now the game's back up in the air, and so I have to leave it. But it's like, all right, then you're leaving an 11 out there that's gassed, so it's like a lose-lose.
Okay. I got one last thing, and then I'm going to sign off because I'm on the East Coast, so it's pretty late.
Oh, damn. Well, thanks for staying up.
Yeah, so Steph's going to be out for a while. Do we have any idea the timeline on how long he might be out? And then we do have a lot of games coming up, so is Andrew Thomas just 100% going to take all of them, or who's behind him?
On the topic of the Steph timeline, I haven't seen anything exact on that, but I do know concussion protocol can vary depending on the severity and how well you come through the checklist that they have. So the way I'm thinking of it right now is that, that was a really bad collision, as we all saw. So it's probably on the side of at least a few weeks that he's going to have to be sidelined. And sometimes with Christian a couple years ago, remember that? He had the kind of recurring issue that ended up keeping him out for a lot of the season. So it just kind of depends on the severity and what they deem is the amount of time he needs to. It's not when you have a hamstring and you're 2 weeks. Yeah, it's nonlinear. But for me, goalkeeper is one where you can pretty much ride this. That's not one that's as important to rotate because you're not really running as much. So I think they'll probably just have Andy T starting all these games for as long as Steph is out. Behind him is a Defiance kid, Jacob Castro, who I don't know that much about. I haven't watched him play that much. I think they're high on him, but I would be pretty surprised if he got in an MLS game, barring a necessity type situation. So I think it's the Andy T show, which I'm cool with. I think Andy T is number one MLS number one goalkeeper. That penalty kick notwithstanding, that was unfortunate. But he's made he's very springy and athletic and can jump around and make the crazy saves. So I think I can see what they see in him as far as his status as the heir apparent.
Yeah, and shout out Alex Roldan. Great goalkeeper. Save of the year, probably. He had one of those.
Oh, are you talking about the KC one?
Yeah, I think it was what was it? He tried to backheel the ball out of the air or something. It was
he did
looking.
do that. It was really awkward looking, and I was worried he got injured, but it ended up being, I think that was the craziest goal line clearance I've ever seen. That I had no idea how he did that. That was magician stuff.
He's got good instincts, that's all. So
yeah, exactly. He has a track record as a successful goalkeeper, so it actually kind of made sense.
All right. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Brendan. Great call, and we'll talk to you next time.
Sounds good.
Take care. All right, we are pulling up on 2 hours, so I think I'm going to call it right there, folks. We got 4 or 5 calls in there. Great stuff. Good discourse, as always. Appreciate you all tuning in for this. We had a little tandem episode of Under the Lights going. Classic Thursday show, but also the post-game reaction call-in show. And I think it went pretty well. Only got 1 super sticker. That's fine. We got Barry, member for 1 month. Thank you, Barry. Appreciate you. GM vote this offseason? I don't know. I think it isn't that every year? Oh no, it's not every year. It's like every 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure what the status of that is. What I do know about that though is it's basically like a formality. Like if you ask the average Sounders fan or season ticket holder about Craig Wives, I don't know if they would give you like a he should be fired response. I think most of them would be like, he's pretty much fine. I'll vote for him again. I'm not saying if that's right one way or the other. I don't think it's a situation where he would be under fire of losing that, like him losing that vote is probably not like a realistic actual possibility. It is phenomenal to have Yamar back. If we're coping over here, if we're talking about the positives, I think there's the performance offensively in the first half these last 2 games. 6 goals. I'll never argue with that. I'll never argue with 6 goals in 2 games. But having Yamar back was awesome. I thought he looked so good. It was just a reminder of like, oh God, yeah, this is one of the most important players on the team. And I think part of what happened in the second half, like, I don't know, this type of meltdown stuff, I haven't seen a Seattle team do it much, period. I've never seen it happen quite like that. Not to this extent, at least. There's been times where Yamar's been out there and they've gotten beat pretty good. That has happened. But like full-on meltdowns, I feel like you see that less. We have talked about this topic. Is Yamar better than Chad Marshall? It's so hard. They're both great. It's so hard for me to say that. Here's why I still take Marshall in this discussion. Yamar is phenomenal. He's more of like a physical specimen than Chad Marshall. Like I feel like he's faster, like more of like a crazy raw athlete. Chad Marshall just never made mistakes. Never made mistakes. I've never seen a center back like that where it's like, I don't know if I've ever seen you make like the wrong play. He would rank super low in like tackles because he never had to make them. That was like one of the craziest Chad Marshall stats. Like, oh, he's a center back and he doesn't get a lot of tackles. Yeah, he does because he's literally always in the right position. I loved watching him in the air too. Freaking beast in the air. Like when when other teams would try and send in long balls over the top, and not only would he win the header every single time, but there's so many times where he would like start the counter by like hitting a pinpoint header like right to a teammate who was running. Like he could place his headers like immaculately. He was a bigger goal scoring threat, in my opinion, than Yamar. Chad got like 3 to 5 goals every year. It felt like all headers off corner kicks, which is a threat they haven't really had since, like, not to that extent. Marshall's the best CB I've ever seen in MLS, and he was the CB when I first started covering the team back in the day, 2014. And I was like, oh, this must just be what it's like. Just a guy in there just who never messes up. This is great. Yamar is awesome, but like if you go through his film, you can find like any normal center back that's not like a freak like Chad Marshall. You'll be able to find like plays where they hit a ball or are in the wrong position or get pulled out of position or get a goal scored on them. There's just like, if you watch Chad Marshall tape, there's just nothing. There's like you can't find the mistakes. I'm sure there are a few. You know, he played in the league for like 15 years, but it's tough. If you ever want to go real sicko mode, grind some Chad Marshall tape. See if you can find the mistakes. Not going to be able to. Yes, Mogno. Jackson Reagan is out next game for yellow accumulation, famously for getting yellow for dissent. That he claims he was railroaded. He's pleading innocent. He said he was kicking it over there, not out of frustration at the ref, but he claims he was trying to do the ref a favor, get the ball over there so they could take the free kick. Ref interpreted it erroneously, according to Jackson. And then Schmetz went over and he gave the refs a little piece of his mind. If Chad was 6'6" like Reagan, he would have had 10 goals a season. I mean, he's 6'4". He's a big ass dude. Reagan has like the crazy height though. That like 6'6", 6'7" type of height. Chad had that like 6'3", 6'5" type of height. Reagan's got that 6'6", 6'7". It's the difference between 6'6", 6'7" and 6'3", 6'4" is actually a little meaningful difference there. Yeah, it could be J-Bell. I saw Stu Hawks training, running some sprints before the game last night. I'm hoping he gets back in the fold soon. I really liked what I saw from Stu Hawks this year. There's so much talk about Stu Hawks. He's too skinny. Can he hack it in MLS? And then Schmetz finally unleashed him and let him play in MLS, and it was fine. It was good. And then he got injured. So hopefully, Stu Hawks can get back, shore up the CB depth. Yaimar's back, which is great. Jordan Morris made it through these last two games, looked really good against Sporting KC. So, I think there's a lens through which the arrow is pointing up here for this season and into the playoffs as the team gets healthier. They got to, I would say, slow down the pace of 6 penalty kicks and 5 red cards in 6 games. But they're top 5 in the West still. They got their starting striker and their starting CB back. It's go time. This is a dogfight. Top 4 in the West on the line. LAFC in there. Portland Timbys in there. There's some other dark horses. Everybody lock the fuck in. Stop getting ejected, conceding penalties. Go get home field advantage in the playoffs. Simple. San Jose Earthquakes on Saturday, who, I mean, we barely talked about them at all. They're spiraling right now. They were winless in like 5 or 6. They have scored the second most goals in the West. They have a very good offense. But you can get at them defensively. Ain't no reason, rotated lineup or not, there's going to be chances there. Playing at home against this Quakes team that passionately loves conceding goals, there should be chances there. The challenge is set. No red cards, no penalties. Let's see if the squad can do it. All right. I'm out of here. Like the video, please. Sub to the channel if you haven't. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok if you haven't. LobbingScorchers.com/sauce. God damn it, I forgot to plug this at the top of the show. But if you want to get the new Orca kit, LobbingScorchers.com/archive. And if you order it from there, we get like a kickback or something. So that's another way to support the show if you want to cop one of those kits, which honestly, I like those things are super sick. Yep. Thank you guys. Talk to you. I'm going to try and lay down the post game live on Saturday night, but follow me on Blue Sky. I always post there the exact timing. Have a good night, everyone. Peace.
Some people come to Lumen Field for the tactics, for the soccer, the atmosphere, and some come for Paul Rothrock's hair. Me personally, I come for both, because I have agendas to push. Live soccer isn't just better, it's way more personal. From making friends to becoming the guy in your section that's just constantly yelling about advanced statistics. Get tickets to any Sounders match by visiting lobbingscorchers.com/tickets. You support the pod, our agendas, the vibes, and the chaos.